I want to tell you a little bit about my decision to become an entrepreneur. It kind of came through a little bit accidentally in many ways. It stemmed from my youth when I got my first job, and I was working as a busgirl in the Whistler's Hotel in Jasper, Alberta, where I was born and raised. And I remember dealing with the public, dealing with people, and realizing that I was very different from many of the people that came in. And it was interesting because all of these people were hard workers in Jasper. Many of them worked for the CN, many of them worked for Parks Canada, but all of them were basically in jobs. They were workers. And I remember sort of interacting with them, although I was a little bit shy. But what really struck me was they were miserable. They were not happy people. And I really, I guess I understood that very well, because I remember thinking at one point in time at 13, is this my life? Is this what I'm going to be doing? Will this be the rest of my working career? Not necessarily as a busgirl, but it just somehow felt wrong to me. And when I got older, the last job that I actually had, I was working for the government of Canada, the Treasury Board actually, with in a military unit where they were doing adventurous training. And I remember being in that job and still thinking, after all the time and all the different jobs I'd ever done, is this my life? And I couldn't really stand the thought of having to work for somebody else, especially when I knew things differently, when I knew a different way. And I believe that early on in my career working there was when the wheels started to turn, and I began to think about working for myself. And that was very unusual for me. I remember when I was in school and we were learning about different careers that you could have, and entrepreneur came up, and for me that just it wasn't appealing at all, not in any way, shape or form. And I didn't understand what being an entrepreneur would entail, and it sounded rather boring to me. But also working for other people was also very boring. I felt very trapped, I felt very caged, and that just was not my personality. And so when I was working for the military through the Treasury Board, I realized that I had to do something different. I just didn't know what it was. And that's when I began to toy with the idea of becoming an entrepreneur.